I was recently contacted by the folks at Livefire to see if I'd be interested in testing out their emergency fire starter. And to be honest, I was a little hesitant. I mean, after all, you're just going to be burning this, and this thing costs around $9 on Amazon. And I just thought that people that would watch the video would just say, that's too expensive, I could just make something like that. So I thought I would use that as the inspiration for this video and actually make some competitors to Livefire. So I went over to Amazon and I bought some of these tins at the exact same size as you see here. You could buy 3 of these tins for around $7. And I also went in and got some petroleum jelly, some cotton balls, and some other common fire starting tinder. And I thought I'd make some competitors for Livefire and see how it would stack up. So let's get started with this video featuring Livefire Emergency Fire Starter. Here are the 3 competitors that I made for the Livefire. The first one being the most inexpensive, dryer lint. Now you want to be very careful with burning lint because you don't want to use a synthetic fabric because that can be toxic. So you want to stick with natural fibers like cotton. So your jeans and t-shirts, things like that. The next I have the good old prepper staple, cotton balls soaked in petroleum jelly. So I got some petroleum jelly here, the cotton balls that you saw earlier, and I just tried to fit as many as I could inside this little tin. These are both very inexpensive options. This is basically just trash. This, most people have cotton balls and petroleum jelly, and so it's kind of doesn't really cost anything except for the tin. Last, I have Wetfire. Now this one's very popular, especially in the prepper community. It comes in a little cube like this, a small little package like a gum wrapper, and I just kind of crushed it up into multiple little pieces here. So each Wetfire cube costs around, I'd say around $1. I have a 2.5 in here. So this is more of the more expensive one. I guess with the tin and the Wetfire, this one would cost about $5. This one's just basically the tin. I mean, if you want to say it, I spent 50 cents on cotton balls and petroleum, you could say that. So this is more in the cost of the tin at $2.50, and same with the dryer lint. So what I would like to do now is just do a straight up burn off between the Livefire against these homemade options. Let's get started. Before burning all the materials, I just wanted to do a quick close-up and talk a little bit about them. So again, this is the Livefire. It kind of has like a texture like a, I don't know, angel food soaked in earwax type thing. It's not going to fall out when you tip it over. If you lift it up, there's like little fibers in here. It's kind of like a compacted cotton balls, I'd imagine. There's multiple layers in it. Next with the lint, I mean, this just kind of falls out. It's just sitting in there. I think lint's kind of nasty. You get all these hairs, and especially if you have pets and everything. Next, we have the cotton balls over here, which is starting to pick up some of the lint in there. This one also kind of stays in the tin, although it'd move around a little bit more too. And then next to it, the Wetfire. The Wetfire is really great stuff, although when it gets crushed like that, if I were to tip this over, it'll all spill all over the place. So that's something to keep in mind when you're burning these things, because a lot of the times, the way that the Livefire is designed is, you could either have it, kind of closed like that, or you could open it up. And you can see with the Wetfire that kind of bundles everything up like that, so you're going to probably have some spillage. With the Livefire, it at least everything stays compact in there, and you can either light it like that, or on full flame like that, or full flame like that. So, and you kind of use it as a handle, like as so. So you can kind of do the same thing with all of them. You have to be careful with the Livefire that you don't spill it all out. The cotton ball is probably going to be pretty close to how the Livefire behaves. And then this dryer lint should probably just burn up really quick. So now let's go outside and get started with the burn off. All right, so I have all the fire tinder lined up. So what we're going to do is light all of them as quick as possible. So the Livefire does come with a little fire still here. I may use the Bic lighter just for speed purposes, at least for this round of testing. I have a stopwatch over here to time all of them, and then a little fire extinguisher for safety. So let's quickly light them and then start the timer. To make it even more exciting, let's boil some water. As you can see, the Wetfire seems to be burning pretty fast. The cotton balls also are. The dryer lint's having some problems over there. And the Livefire just has a nice little steady pace to it. So we'll see if this Wetfire lasts. It seems to be going pretty hardcore. I'm trying to space them apart. There's no kind of burning action going on with this dryer lint. Alright, we have a boil going with the Wetfire. There's a new cup of water. Each one of these has 1 cup in there. It looks like we're starting to get a nice boil now with the Livefire. Let's take that one off and put a fresh one on. Actually, I think this dryer lint's done. I'm just going to use this one. Alright, it's been a little over 9 minutes. It looks like the Wetfire might be done. Let's take a look. Yeah, so that's all burnt out. Alright, we're at 11.5 minutes now. Looks like the cotton balls might be done as well. Let's take a look. They haven't boiled any water yet. So it's on its last legs there, as you can see. Just leave that on a little longer. Live fire seems to be doing well. Alright, so I don't think the cotton balls have any more life to them. Yeah, they're pretty much done. No water was boiled. So I stopped that one around, let's see, 13.5 minute mark. Let's see how long this live fire goes for. Alright, it seems to be dying out. It's almost got it to a boil, but I don't think it's going to actually make it. Alright, so there still seems to be a flame going on in there, although it looks like it's dying out. My time is at 18 minutes, a little over 18 minutes. They advertise that it goes for about 30. I'm wondering if I flip it, if I'll get a little bit more heat out of it. The other ones are all completely dead. There we go. Well, I'd say that one's about done. Let's see, our final time, about 23 minutes. Alright, so the results for this test is the dryer lint really had a tough time on this one. It's kind of just meant to help start a fire but not really burn for a long time. The cotton balls, they did okay. They warmed up the water. They lasted the second longest. They never really had a real strong flame going with it. The Wetfire started off really strong. It lived fast, died young. So it burned off fairly quickly. That was 2.5 Wetfires in there. It boiled 1 cup of water. And then the live fire boiled 1 cup of water. It almost got to the second cup, but didn't quite make it. And it made it the longest at 23 minutes. So that's this one never really got as strong of a flame as the Wetfire did, although it was more of a consistent flame throughout the entire process. So let's refill all these and continue with the testing. Just as a mental note, these things get extremely hot, so it's a cool storage case, although the tin gets very, very hot, so you have to kind of use the lid of it as a handle. It's kind of you have to get kind of used to doing it, but it's definitely an effective method to actually carrying it, but you definitely don't want to touch those tins. So I refilled all of the fire starters and then put them in the freezer for 24 hours to do some cold weather testing. I have my non-contact infrared thermometer that you see here. Let's just take a quick little check. Fahrenheit, 17 degrees. Let's go over to Celsius really quick. Nice. Alright, let's do some testing. Alright, we're outside for safety purposes. Again, let's check out the thermometer. Yes, it's still very cold. Below freezing on all these. Let's see, that one's just right at freezing level. Alright. There you go. Blast match. It's getting stuck on there because it's so cold. There we go. There we go. There we go. Alright, so all of them caught fire using the Blaster Match Fire Striker. This is by Ultimate Survival Technologies. Awesome little striker, by the way. So we don't need to see these burn for that long, so let's just quickly put them out. Now what I'd like to do is test them out after they've been drenched in water. As you can see, the Wetfire went all over the place. Definitely a negative. Alright, so I'm just going to use the lighter for this one, just for make it a little simple. I can tell you that the lint is not going to light though. Let's see though. Yeah, I mean it's just completely drenched. Let's see if the petroleum helps out a little bit. Just the petroleum cotton balls. Starting to, huh? Yeah, it wants to light that petroleum, it's just too wet. Let's try the Wetfire. As advertised, the Wetfire does pretty good. Although the only problem is that when it got wet like this, when it's all crumbled in pieces, it just kind of fell apart. Huh? Went all over the place. Now let's try the live fire. I feathered up this little section here, burning off the water I could hear. If you could hear that, that's just the water burning off of it, but it's definitely catching on fire. Not sure why that Wetfire's not going. Oh shoot! Crap. Yeah, the Wetfire kind of sucks when it's all broken up into pieces like that. You're going to lose valuable tinder. There's your light right there. Well, it looks like the live fire won this competition. That's going to do it for the testing that I had planned. So for test number 1, that was just a burn test. The live fire won that one by several minutes. The next test was just a cold weather at freezing temperature. All of them were able to be lit for that. And then when they were drenched in water, these two failed that part of it. The wet fire did light, although it spilt all over the place. And the live fire lit very easily and had a nice strong flame to it. So I think that the live fire won that one as well. So 2 out of 3 for my test cases. I also did some impromptu wind testing, and I felt that the live fire also performed well on that one, but I wasn't able to get that one on video. So now it just becomes a matter of that price tag, that $8 to $10 range for a price tag. Do you want to spend that much, or do you want to make your own kind of tinder, or do you want to buy something that probably costs around $1 a cube? So that's where the big question comes into play. In the live fire advertisements, they say you should throw this into any kind of emergency backpack, your bug out bag, things like that. But you know, for a family of 5, that might be a little bit expensive. You're spending about $50 in fire tinder. But I do think it has its applications. The first one is for, you know, a very nice Altoid survival tin. If you could fit both the regular size version of the live fire in there, as well as the live fire sport version. And if you wanted to, you could even use the magnets that I use for my Altoids tin to make sure everything's nice and locked in place in there. So they both fit in there. That'd be a really good application for it. Also for an SAS survival pouch. One thing that I like about the other fire tinder is that you could buy them individually, or you could at least use them individually, such as the Wetfire come in a little package like you see here. And with the live fire, you just get this big sheet and you'd have to kind of cut it. So the other day I was at the grocery store and it kind of gave me an idea. I saw this little pack of gum over there, and I thought it'd be really cool if live fire maybe took a cue from the gum market and was able to have kind of some individual slices of that live fire already prepared in the tin. So let me see if I could open this up on the camera. So I was thinking if the live fire might have been packaged like that, maybe not in the wrappers like you get with the gum, but if at least if it was like that in the live fire tin, that you could pull each one of those out individually and then just use those for whatever fire that you want to start. So if you want to have them in the live fire tin and just burn them all at once, you can. Otherwise, if you want to just start one fire and just move on to the next one, you could kind of use it like this, like almost like a pack of gum, or kind of like a live fire Pez dispenser, where you're just taking out your live fire then and using that for whatever tinder fire that you want to burn at the time. So I thought that might be kind of a cool feature for live fire to do in the future. That's going to do it for this video featuring live fire emergency fire starter. All in all, I think this is a great little fire tinder. It works when it's wet, it works in the cold, it works in the wind, has an extremely long burn time. It outperforms all the other fire tinder. The only issue is that it has kind of a higher price tag at right around $9. So since it's a new product, maybe over time we'll probably see that price tag go down. I think it'd be really cool if it was like, you know, 2 for $10 or something like that. You could be putting these all over the place in your bug out bags. Right now I think it's probably better suited for tailor-made Altoid survival tins, also for SAS survival pouches. You know, if you want to have the best of the best in there, I would choose live fire for that. So please feel free to leave any kind of comments below in the comments section, and I hope you guys enjoyed watching this video featuring live fire emergency fire starter. See ya!